You're learning with 9 to 5 English. Business English for the workplace. Hi, Tim here with another 9 to 5 English lesson. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about extremes using superlatives such as best and worst. Business is a competition, and in competition, we are always talking about who or what is at the top or the bottom. Usually, this means comparing with adjectives. I mean, we're talking about how small something is or how successful someone is. Adding the idea of most to these adjectives is easy. If the adjective is short, we just add est to the end. So we say smallest, shortest, and cheapest. If the adjective is longer, then we use most, such as most successful or most interesting. Want to give this a try? Let's practice some examples of using most and best. Listen to each example, then repeat it yourself. Ready? Let's get started.
Our sales are usually highest in November and December.
Of all the interviewees, Caleb was the most impressive.
Nothing really compares to the taste of Beamer's coffee.
Amazon has far and away the biggest selection of books.
All right. We've just practiced using most and best. But you might have noticed another expression in those examples. If you want to say something is the best, you can say that nothing compares to it. That just means nothing is even close to as good as it. If New York is your absolute favorite city, for example, you can say, nothing compares to New York. So most and best are at one end of the scale. But what's at the other end? Well, that would be worst and least. I mean, maybe you think New York is the worst city in the world. If you're using an adjective to describe exactly what is so bad, then you can choose a negative adjective. For example, you can talk about the most terrible laptop, or you can use the word least, like saying someone is the least interesting person. How about some more practice? This time, we're talking about negative ideas using worst and least. Once again, repeat the examples after you hear them.
The second quarter of this year was our slowest ever.
There's nothing worse than high gas prices.
Wendy is the least qualified person for the job.
Their customer service is the absolute worst.
Great work! And did you notice 2 special expressions for saying something is the worst? One way is to say There's nothing worse than something. That means it's at the very bottom of the scale. And another is to say something is the absolute worst. That makes it sound pretty bad, doesn't it? Okay, we've practiced some of these expressions on their own. But how does all this sound in a conversation? Let's listen to a short dialogue between James and Nicola. James is asking Nicola about her new mobile phone.
Are you happy with your new mobile phone?
Yeah, nothing really compares to the latest Samsung.
You must notice a huge difference in speed.
I sure do. My old phone was the absolute worst for speed.
As you heard, Nicola thinks her new phone is the best, while her old phone was the worst. Now it's your turn to practice. We'll repeat the dialogue, but this time we're going to beep out the second speaker's words. You will have to say those parts yourself. Remember to start by saying that nothing compares to your new phone. Then you'll say how bad your old phone was for speed. Here we go.
Are you happy with your new mobile phone? You must notice a huge difference in speed.
All right, that about does it for this lesson. We've learned some great ways to talk about the best and worst of things. Tune in next time when you'll learn the best ways to talk about abilities. Until then, so long and happy learning.